Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always...
Hello, I'm Scott.
Hello, Scott. And this week we are finally, after 2 months behind, maybe a month behind since it came out, getting to the big finish release of Christopher Ecclestone's second season.
This one just came out 2 weeks ago, so I don't know what you're talking about.
We're not that far behind. Maybe it was the last one we were behind. We were behind on one of them. I just assumed you were still behind. But yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago, and we're getting around to it. What's this one called? Back to Earth.
Back to Earth, which is kind of a bland title because Christopher Ecclestone is always on Earth. But,
but Big Finish though, he's been not on Earth at all.
Apart from most of the stories.
Apart from the ones where he was, but he was in space and he was on an alien planet for
2 seconds
years when he got frozen as a statue. That was on an alien planet.
But he was also on an alien planet, which was kind of like Earth.
Yeah, but alien still wasn't Earth. Like Earth is different than being Earth. You
got a point.
But we'll just, I think, probably just dive right into talking about these episodes because there's 3 of them to get through, and
as always,
yeah. I'm glad it's not one of the Big Finish releases that come out with a lot of episodes. I kind of wish it was less than 3, because listening to 3 hours, usually I leave it to the last minute, and listening to 3 hours back to back can be draining.
That's the thing. Would you prefer these 12 episodes a season to be spread out over the year, so we get one every month, as opposed to 3 every 3 months? I think that would work out better. Not for us, because
we'd only be. Work.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe. I get why they do it. In batches, because they have so many other releases. They would be completely jamming up the release schedule if they did 1 episode each month. There'd be 50,000 episodes a month. But the first episode in this box set is called Station to Station and is written by Robert Valentine. A deserted railway platform can be the loneliest place on Earth, but when Saffron is stranded at Underbridge Station, she meets echoes of the past and a fellow lost traveler, and the Doctor knows that something is hunting them. ... This is the train one. It's set in a train station.
I like trains episodes.
It is. It is also the one where the Doctor fights Gru from Despicable Me. Yes. So the episode opens up with a woman getting chased and killed, as every good episode of Doctor Who does.
Yeah. You gotta get those murders out just before the pre-title sequence, Just gotta kill people straight away. As we learned from Resurrection of the Daleks, the 5th Doctor story, you have to kill people just the second it starts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with the mass murder on that one. What I did like about this season, or this set from the start of the season, or however you want to describe it, these 3 episodes is... at least with the first and the third one, I felt their openings could have been TV openings. I don't remember what the second one opening was, but the first episode opening where it's spooky, lady dies, oh, this is a horror-y type episode of Doctor Who, and then the third episode where the Doctor is at the stairs or in this big house, and he's like, oh, hello, I'm the Doctor, and you don't expect him, and you're like, oh, why is the Doctor in this house? And then it gets to those credits. I just hit my cable, so that probably sounded terrible. Out of all of them, I think that these kind of felt more TV-esque. And that actually, especially with this one and the next one, there's a lot of action and a lot of moving around and a lot of sound effects of people's feet shuffling across the room. But the Doctor...
I gotta say, with all the sound effects, I wasn't lost throughout any of these episodes. Not once, I would say. You're going to say you're lost because you weren't paying attention, aren't you?
I think I got lost in the 3rd episode, and that was just... I was like, what room of the house are we in right now?
Okay, that's fair. It's also very timey-wimey.
Yeah, the second episode is it's not the second the third episode is extremely timey-wimey. So much so I just stopped caring about the timey-wimey. It would make more sense visually, but with just audio, and I was on the bus, and it was like, you know, the house is jumping through time. I just completely was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to whatever they're saying and not really understand. But back to this first episode, the TARDIS starts freaking out, and you've written Doctor meets Echo. As in the dolphin? The dolphin?
Yes, the dolphin. The talking dolphin from the TV series. No, as in one of the ghosts, you know? One of the... Yeah, one of the things that the Grimity Gru captures. What did you think of the name of the Grimity Gru?
I just grew. It's just grew. It's grew. It's grew. You know, Grimity Gru makes it sound too much like the Gruffalo to me. You know, it's that type of like kids story, but Gru, you know, he's like an icon.
I mean, that is technically the point of this villain. It's like a fairy tale kind of villain, like a Brothers Grimm.
Yeah, and the Gru. Saffron's on the train, and you said she's on the phone to her girlfriend, and she's nervous about something. I didn't pick up that it was her girlfriend. Again, probably wasn't paying attention. I just thought, mate, innit? You know, because they're on the phone, she gets distracted. She like steps off to check something, and then the train closes and leaves without her. And she's like, "Oh my god, there's no more trains probably, and I don't know what station I'm at. How do I get home?"
Which is something apparently people do all the time. Because I was on Facebook the other day. One of my friends from Academy did that apparently just the other day, and it's like, how the fuck do you leave your train and just have it leave without you? Pay attention. You know?
You know, I've never used. I've been on a train 3 times in my life, so I don't really know how trains work. I especially don't know how trains work within a city, in like the Tube in London or whatever.
Oh god, yeah.
It seems stressful. Like, you know, I don't think you're going to get very good phone signal down there. Maybe there's public Wi-Fi. If there's public Wi-Fi, Google Map your train route and just follow that. Yeah. How hard is that to do?
Yeah, probably Wi-Fi as well. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
We should have Wi-Fi, right?
Maybe, but you know, maybe it's just really bad because it's, you know, underground and 8 million people are connected to it. But the Saffron's train comes into the station. She finds out she's at the wrong stop. Phone dies, as I said, and this is where she meets the lead villain, and she escapes and runs into the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Hey, don't worry, I'm the train inspector. Look at my ID." And, you know, this is the psychic paper, and instead the psychic paper says, "I'm scared there's something wrong with this place." Which is an interesting lapse for the doctors. You know, the doctor doesn't often go into a place that he goes, "Oh my god, this place is super scary." You know, he usually goes in there with the confidence. Or if I'm thinking how the psychic paper works, isn't the psychic paper reflect whatever that person's expecting to see? Was the pseudo logic behind it?
It might be a bit of both, to be honest. It might be a projection the doctor is trying to put onto it, and the reader is trying to put onto it. I haven't seen the Russell T Davies era in full in a while, so I can't say for sure.
They did explain it. It was something like, you know, I'd say to you, I'm the head security guard. Then I think really hard about being the head security guard and show you the badge, and you're expecting to see the head security guard because I've just said that to you. Yeah. So that's what you see. Jesus, that was a loud car.
I just saw it. I just saw it on the Audacity just kind of go up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. Loud traffic.
You said Doctor tries to leave the station and he disappears into portal? ? You're not that sure about that, are we?
No, I wasn't sure if it was a portal or what. I guess he just kind of went.
Did we? Got paying attention. Right.
I was paying attention, but. He went away to somewhere, and then Saffron was like, "Where are you? We just vanished."
Yeah,
and I don't know what that was. He just vanished into darkness.
The TARDIS. That was my assumption, is he went into the TARDIS. But yeah, the TARDIS is like missing or something, isn't it? So
yeah.
But everything in the ticket office is out of date, and they leave, and everything looks different outside. They're caught between crack of casual time. So, like, basically, the way to think about this train station is it's ghosts. It's a ghosty train station, and it's like all different eras of time kind of stuck in there at once. That's how I was imagining it in my head, because you've got like folks from different like ghosty people, like, oh, I'm from this place, and this person's like, oh.
I was kind of imagining it being this train station from like the Matrix or Harry Potter. You know, the Harry Potter the ghost train station where he meets Dumbledore.
Sure.
Do you remember?
I'm the not. Harry Potter's fine if you ignore the creator.
There is no creator,
and
of
and
Harry Potter.
a lot of the subtext in the world. But yeah, no, I could see the way that I imagined the platforms and stuff, having never been to London, was the Matrix train station, which is obviously New York's subway, not London Tube. But hey, I've never been to London, so I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to London in a few days. I might just go to a train station and listen to this episode again and get the full context.
What you need to do is go on a train and then just get off and be like, oh, I wonder where this is. Wait, this isn't my stop. And there'll be like 15 other people doing the same thing probably, if this episode is to be believed. But they then end up seeing an echo of a crying lady walk into a condemned area of the tunnel, and they end up getting chased by the villain. They hide in a tea room, and Gru doesn't follow them into the room. And this is where the Doctor tries to calm down Saffron in quite a charming way, where he's like, hey, I know how to play spoons, and then he plays his spoons really badly. And
which I'm going to quiz you on this, which is a reference to which Doctor?
6.
You were close. It's 7.
Well, it's just a guess. So I had like a 1 in 8 chance of getting it right. They end up eating cake, and Saffron says that she's nervous to tell her parents that she's getting married, and the Doctor talks about how family isn't always something you're born in. She does talk about, because the Doctor's like, are you worried about coming out? And she's like, nah, I'm not worried about that. That I completely forgot about that aspect of this storyline. The crying lady ends up behind the counter, not the camera, and the Doctor says that she isn't real, and Saffron offers her tissues, to which she thanks, and the tissues vanish with the ghost lady, which makes the Doctor go, hey, those weren't ghost tissues though. How did the ghost take the ghost tissues? There must be something afoot. I like up to this point, he just assumed she was a ghost.
This feels like it's like the 4th time Ecclestone has dealt with the concept of ghosts. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is,
yes.
Like there was the Unquiet Dead from series 1. There was a deconstructed girl from one of the other box sets. I feel like there was another box set episode that dealt with ghosts.
Probably.
There's one later on in this episode that kind of deals with ghosts as well, in a haunted house kind of. It's very interesting.
Yeah. He likes ghosts. This Doctor really likes ghosts. And if you want to play, the next episode has like a zombie dude, kind of a ghost.
I guess, yeah.
The Doctor finds a plaque dedicated to the people who died in a landslide after something fell, and he's got a line where he's like, the only name that got remembered were the people that were in charge, not the 16 workers who ended up actually dying, blah 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 blah, anti-capitalism, power's bad.
Yeah, it's a very Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston line.
Yeah, I think with these episodes, with the last one in particular, this one does it pretty well as well. And even the second one does it pretty well, is better than the previous ones, I think. Gets that emotionality across with a lot of its lines. I think that there's a lot more sympathy in these 3 episodes than what we've seen in previous ones.
Like this one especially feels like it's all about like the human spirit and just trying to fight and just make these right choices. Well, it's human spirit. Okay.
Yeah. On platform 4, they run into the station master. His father was around for the landslide, and he can't remember his name. And he's not seen any ghosts, and he's definitely not a ghost himself.
Definitely not.
Definitely not a ghost. He just can't remember his own name. He's just the station master. In the shop, the old lady can see all 3 people, and the Doctor says they're being absorbed by the place, and it's like a trap for stray bugs. It's catches ghosts. It's a ghost catching train station. Two more people are lost out there with a collection of stolen moments all stitched together. Pain brought them all there. Should they stay? Should they go? Where did they come from? Cotton Eye Joe. They plan to fight back with love and understanding, like that's going to work. What's this, Doctor Who? And then the Gru comes into the tea shop for a wee cuppa, and he says that he savors the regrets of everybody, all the mistakes that they made, and do you understand the theme that this episode's going for, and what its overarching message is?
Yeah,
at this point,
it's a pretty heavy theme. It's just very obvious, but it's nice in the same way.
Yeah, and the Doctor kind of figures out at this point who Gru is. He's like, "Oh, you're like, like a child's legend, like this horror story you tell kids at night." He says that he works like Rumpelstiltskin. He puts a name to something, you remove its power, and then we get into my favorite part in the episode. I thought this bit was really good because Gru as a villain, kind of just generic monster villain dude.
Yeah, he's kind of like the big bad wolf from fucking Three Little Pigs. Also, Big Bad Wolf being the main theme of series 1.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's all connected. But they get into this bit where they have to guess each other's names, and I messaged you this. It reminded me a lot of The Hobbit. The battle of riddles that Bilbo has with Gollum inside the cave. Where they're just Gollum's like, I won't eat you if you play a game with me, or if I win this game I get to eat you, and if you win the game then you get to go free, and it's a very similar sort of theme where it's like, if you guess my name you can kill me, if I guess your name then you lose all your power. Same sort of deal.
Okay. See, when you said it was from The Hobbit to me in text, I was like, I don't know which part of The Hobbit you're talking about. I do not remember the movie at all, even though it's based on a book I've never read.
Great book.
The only thing I can remember of from the movie is when he goes, "I'm going on a journey," and also was
you've got that wrong as well, because he says, "I'm going on an adventure."
See, just shows you how little I remember from a 4-hour movie that did not need to be made.
First film's great. Second film is meh. Third film is terrible. The book
I never
is one
watched
of the
the last
best
one.
books I've ever read in my life. The book is absolutely amazing. It's so good.
That's because you're a nerd.
But the names that the Doctor comes up with for Gru is he calls him not Brother Lungbarrow. Hang on.
That's the names.
Right, I see how you've written this now.
Yeah.
The stupid way of writing it. Right. So the names that Gru comes up with for the Doctor, he says Brother Lungbarrow, which is not it. He goes, the oncoming storm, which makes everybody clap and laugh and go, "Ah, ha, ha, I understand that reference."
You don't understand the first one, do you, Phil?
No, who cares?
We just talked about this in our news episode about the book Lungbarrow, which is the book in which we found out Time Lords are created through these little machines.
I definitely remember you saying that and locked in that it was from that specific book. Yeah. Who cares about that? Oncoming storm made me clap and go yay, which made the Doctor be like, I've never heard that before, not my name, which ha 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 ha, get it, because regeneration. The next one that the Gru comes up with is Theta Sigma, which kind of sounds like a frat house sort of the Greek saying thing, and the Doctor says that school nicknames don't count, so school nickname for the Doctor, Theta Sigma.
It was a version of the Doctor who existed in an alternate timeline where Rassilon failed to finish the Eye of Harmony before his death.
Is that Theta Sigma? Or is that... Yeah, okay. Theta Sigma, but balls. Ha ha! The names that the Doctor comes up with for Gru is he goes Griminy Gru, and the guy's like, no, why would I be called Gru? And then he comes up with Mr. Cold Harbor, which is also a terrible name. Is this also a reference to things? Are these all?
I think it's the name of like the train conductor or something that got killed. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Then he channels
a few days.
He channels his inner Chris Chibnall, and he says the most overly long, complicated name that you've ever heard in your life. It's like the Flim Flam Schmuxel blocks, and then Flim Flam Schmuxel blocks is like, oh my god, you're totally right, that's my name, no. And he basically
in my notes I just wrote something very complicated, but I'm not writing.
Yeah, it's an alien name, and the guy gets destroyed and goes away, and allows everybody to leave the train station. And basically, like, the way that I saw it is they were going back to whatever regret it was that ended up killing them, or the moment before that thing, so that they can set their life right, or make that. And the doctor has this great speech where he's like, you gotta go back. I'm not doing anything here. I'm not going to come in and save you again. You've got to make this choice. You get that second chance to do the right thing, to blah de blah. He gives a big impassioned Ninth Doctor speech, and it's wonderful, and which you've attached with this just this once everybody lives. Same vibe of speech. Like,
one of the things about this ending is it's very happy. It made me very happy, but it kind of takes away again from the just this once everybody lives, because the Ninth Doctor constantly has these episodes where the ending is very happy and nobody dies. So why is it just this once everybody lives when it happens at the end of the Doctor dances?
Yeah, but shut up.
Okay.
Did you consider
fair.
that? Did you consider shut up?
Fair. But one of the things about this episode is I think Saffron would have made an excellent companion, and I wish Big Finish would commit to just letting one of these people just be a companion to the Doctor. I don't care about Rose. Just make somebody else a companion, please.
So you heard it here first. Scott doesn't care about Rose. Take that out of context, please, and use it to blackmail him.
Oh no.
I adding Rose in as a companion would be cool. I don't know if this doctor needs a permanent companion. Maybe one like over an arc, and then at the end of that arc they leave. Or like one or two, like a 1 or 2 part episode. I thought Saffron was fine. I thought she was likable and she was fun to listen to. I really liked the lady in the 3rd episode, although they got way too kissy for me.
Yeah, that was very weird.
But before we get into the 3rd episode, do you want to take the 2nd episode?
Sure. This is The False Dimitri, and it's by Sarah Groshala. Sure. And it's set in Moscow, 1605, when the old Tsar is dead, but some blame unnatural forces. Perhaps the mysterious doctor in the palace can help. A successor advances on the Kremlin with an army, preparing the country for war, but name... do you know how to pronounce his name, Matthew?
Let me see. Where are we?
Tsarevich
Dimitri. That's what I would say.
Yeah, he is not what he seems.
He is a false Dimitri.
Hell yeah, and this is based on the false Dimitri that actually took power in Russia for almost a year. Nobody knew where he came from in history, so I guess Doctor is just like, oh yeah, we're going to fill out this gap in history and just make up a weird explanation of what it could be, which Doctor Who does a lot.
This false Dimitri has one hell of a signature. If you go into his Wikipedia page, you see his signature. It looks like a musical composition.
Oh yeah. That is, yeah, just put it up on screen now.
Oh,
it's fucking wild.
Making me do work.
Yeah, that is a signature. I should copy that.
Not a great photo up on screen right now. That is what his signature looks like. Very interesting.
So yeah, this is another historical episode, and do you know anything about this before you'd listen to it? Because I sure did not.
I did not know a single thing about it. I am not really caught up on my medieval Russian history. I got a lot of reading to do on that aspect of the world as far as it goes. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was very well presented. This is an episode with a lot of action that I did not find boring to listen to. There was one moment where the editing to me seemed really strange, where there was just like a long period of silence. It was like footsteps, and then like a jolty cut, and then people were talking again. It was a weird bit of mixing. But besides that, I thought this episode was very enjoyable.
But yeah, this episode begins with Boris, not Johnson. He gets waken up by Dimitri, the spirit of an old Tsar, and Boris gets unalived. Which is a very nice opening.
Doctor Who opening with a murder ghost.
Yes, again, like, how many episodes of Doctor Who just opens with murder?
Especially murder ghosts. How many episodes start with murder ghosts? A lot.
So Oksana, who is the nurse of this Kremlin,
I didn't like her.
She kind of reminded me of a nurse from Romeo and Juliet. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, fair.
I found her likable to start. Then when she started like dawdling after Dimitri, I was like, I'm tired of you. And then the twist at the end where she was like, I forget what the twist was, or she knew he wasn't Dimitri, or she knew that Dimitri was inside him, or something like that, or like the guy was inside him all along, or something. I was like, I'm bored of you as a character. I don't think that's very interesting.
Yeah, but she runs into the doctor. She's very scared, and she says most of the doctors are from England, which is a nice little inside reference to most of the doctors being from England, apart from 4 now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fucking great. 4 now. 4 Scottish doctors. And the doctor concludes that Boris' heart stopped, and I wish would happen in real life. Oksana and Sasha, which is her son, who's like a monk, right? They talk about the successor of the throne.
They talk about him being at the monastery with this dude whose name I forget. Yeah.
They talked about the successor of the throne, who is Theodore. He's a 16-year-old. And does Theodore have an actor? Because I don't remember him having any lines. He just sits in his horse.
Screams at one point. He's like,
yeah, when he gets force choked.
Yeah.
Oksana tries to convince Son that the ghost killed Boris. I wrote here, the liquid Dimitri attacks the Kremlin and breaks through the gates. This is a reference to Chris Chan.
So if you don't understand, you've got a lot of homework to do. A terrible nightmare world is about to open up to you if you look up Gino Samuel's ongoing documentary on Chris Chan.
It's about 60 episodes deep, 40 minutes a piece. It's a good binge material. You can get through it in a weekend, easy.
You'll hate yourself about 3 episodes in, and you will not be able to stop watching.
It's a nightmare, but yeah. Oksana runs to Dimitri, recognizing the boy she nursed as a child. The Kremlin guard threatens Dimitri to leave. Theodore is terrified to step in, which is like his only role in this episode, just to be scared as fuck. Dimitri gets shot by a guard and comes back to life because he's not what he seems. Dimitri
happens. Dimitri coming back alive, in case you missed it the first time or didn't understand, they make sure to do it like 8 times. Like,
it happens a lot in this episode.
He's dying like every scene he's in.
There's even a point near the end when he actually does die, and it's like, oh yeah, he's reliving all his deaths at once, and it's like, he fucking went through a lot of deaths.
When he just drop, what the fuck? Why would he struggle? He would like explode.
But yeah, Dimitri force chokes Theodore, and everybody leaves the area, just abandoning the child's corpse, which is lovely imagery.
Yeah, I really like it. I think this is Is this the first Doctor Who episode with a child murder?
Probably not.
I can't think of another episode in which a child actively gets murdered.
Well, I guess Jean and Phyllis, we just covered in The Curse of Fenric, were teenagers. Remember the vampire ladies?
I suppose, yeah, I suppose they could be teenagers. They looked about 35, but I guess they could be teenagers.
I mean, the whole point of them, we were.
Yeah, they were like coming into their womanhood, whatever. Yeah. I suppose.
Bloody melted.
Maybe them.
But yeah, there's probably a dozen child deaths in Doctor Who that I just can't think of off the top of my head. The fucking remember the fucking balls the master had of the people from Utopia?
Yes,
and the child.
It was the kid that won that
Blue Peter,
the Blue Peter thing. Yeah. And they were like, "Cool, you get to be on Doctor Who, and we're gonna murder you and turn you into this killer ball."
I believe I actually entered that competition, so I would have loved to be a Doctor Who villain.
I remember watching it on TV and not entering in the competition, and then still being really jealous of the kid that won.
But where was I? The Doctor befriends. Yeah, with child murder. Great conversation right now. Yikes. The Doctor befriends Sasha, and Sasha says Dimitri is actually Griska. Am I pronouncing the name right?
Sure. I have no idea.
Griska is a monk who disappeared 2 years ago. He never wanted to be a monk. He was forced by his dad. He's unhappy about being a monk. He's not religious, but he took a valuable religious orb, and it's impossible to open it, but he opened it.
Did they explain how he opened it? Because I don't remember if they explained, because they were like, it's in this like chest that was impossible to open, but anyway, he opened it and just left the chest, which I was like, why include that detail that it was impossible to open if he managed to do it?
I don't know, perhaps it was, I don't think it was explained, but my theory is maybe it was just calling to him, and it's kind of like the sword and the stone kind of situation.
Yeah, he was always supposed to open it.
Yeah.
What I did like, and it might be spoiling the twist later on, but we'll just talk about it now, with Sasha and Griska, was the twist of them being all lovey-dovey with each other inside the monkhood. I did not see it coming. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting character twist that makes this even more tragic. Lovely stuff. Very, very well done.
And if this was a television episode, people would be on Twitter the following day just being like, it's fucking woke, it's so woke.
There were no gay people in the 1600s, and that's just a scientific fact.
Oh,
yeah. Just 100 years, 1500s, sure. 1700s, sure. But the 1600s, nah.
Yeah, homosexuality wasn't invented until 2010. Did you know that?
Yeah. And it was pretty sure it was invented by Tumblr.
It was invented, and Barack Obama. Barack Obama brought in gayness to the world.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. He released whores when he became president.
So Oksana tries to bathe Dimitri. He refuses, and his clothes rip, and she sees the orb burned into his chest. And I think this is the point where Oksana kind of becomes an unlikable character, because she just goes off to pray for a little bit, doesn't she?
She does nothing this whole episode. It was a really weird scene to listen to, her trying to very aggressively take his clothes off to bathe him. Like, it goes on like a long time, and he's like, I don't want to take my clothes off, and she's like, come on, I've seen it all before, get your clothes off, come on. And I was like, I was sitting listening to this on the bus, like, this is I don't like this.
Yeah, it was pretty strange. But yeah, the Doctor... it was very strange. The Doctor and Sasha see the casket, and nobody can close or open it. It's not a real casket, and it's giving off a faint signal, which suggests it, is alien. Oksana asks the Doctor to help Dimitri. The Doctor realizes it's a control device. The Doctor stops the coronation from happening. Before he forces Dimitri to remove his robes again.
This is again a weird part where he's like, all the guards like get ordered to stop him, but he pulls out the sonic screwdriver and he's like, nah, I'll zap you. And then all the guards just let him attack this, emperor dude, which, if they're guards, their life is supposed to be, sacrificial to protect the Tsar. But hey-oh. And also the Doctor stripping somebody in public doesn't really feel like the Doctor to me. If this Tsar was of the female persuasion, this would have a much weirder context to it than it already does, so I think it's weird both ways. Just a strange way of writing it, just a strange way of doing it. He was very eager to strip this man down.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit a good topic. This is, there's a lot of people in this story. You imagine like 50 people watching this coronation at least. Mm-hmm. But yet the room kind of feels empty at the same time. And it's like, surely there's like going to be a lot of people trying to stop Doctor from what he's
or
doing,
like
or
at least
shouting
some
at
people,
him.
yeah, shouting and protesting, like, "Yeah, get your hands off the Tsar," or something like this, or "Guards, what are we doing? Why are we standing around?" But it's like, Dimitri's like, "Guards, why are you? Go help!" And then the Doctor's like, "Stay back, guards!" Like you never hear the guards say or mutter or do anything. Like,
And also maybe I zoned out for a second or two, but this guy just came in and he shot the real king, and
yeah,
everybody's on board with it. It's very
well,
strange.
because he's got force powers,
Yeah,
so
true. He's like Darth Vader.
yeah.
So Dimitri force chokes the Doctor, but because he has two hearts, he's perfectly fine. Sasha stabs Dimitri, but because he has an orb, he bounces back, and this is his like second or third death of the episode.
Yeah.
The Doctor and Sasha escape through a hidden door. Dimitri gets crowned, so there's not much point to that scene, really.
It just lets you, yeah, because we've already established that he's got the orb in him, and we've already established that he's immortal and can come back to life. So, yeah.
The Doctor and Sasha find a spaceship that's using psychic cloaking, and they can't find the door. They hide from Dimitri, but a robot. They hide from Dimitri entering the ship, and the robot wife activates the platoon.
Yeah, so this is where the story gets a bit weird. So Dimitri is engaged to a Polish lady, except that Polish lady is not actually a Polish lady. She's a space robot.
She's a space robot with psychic powers. So all the Russians perceive her to be Polish.
But she's like a robot controlled by an alien species on the other side of the galaxy. And they basically use the robots to come and wipe a planet clean of whoever's on it and then steal the resources. I don't know if these aliens have been in previous episodes of Big Finish or Doctor Who or anything like that.
I don't think so.
I thought it was kind of an interesting concept. It's kind of, a bit of a convoluted alien, but like whatever,
it could have just been an alien that manifests itself as somebody's greatest fear or something like that. We've dealt with concepts like that before.
Terrified Polish woman.
It's a guy coming back to life with an orb in his chest, but he's not himself. He's Dimitri, but he's really
Griska or whatever.
Griska, whatever his name is. But also he has a robot wife who is seen as a Polish lady who's controlled by aliens from outer space. It's kind of convoluted in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oksana seeks protection for Dimitri. She just prays for a couple of scenes. Doesn't really do much. Dimitri finds her, introduces her to Polish wife. Dimitri finds an icon of Legion that was always there, according to the nurse. And Dimitri comes to himself for a second, and the wife destroys the icon.
Yes. Do you know about Legion? Do you know who the Legion is?
I don't know.
No, I have a very vague understanding. I was going to
teach me.
Going to research him a bit more, and then I completely forgot to. But my basic understanding of Legion, if I'm remembering correctly, is it's an angel that was like against Jesus or something like that. But Legion, the phrase "we are Legion," it's many with the mind of one. It's this like oncoming horde of that's just one big demon basically. That's where "we are Legion" comes from, and why it doesn't sound like it makes grammatical sense, but actually it does make grammatical sense. So this whole thing of seeing that thing of Legion, I don't understand the context of why that makes Griska realize himself, because he's like, oh wait, I'm not Dimitri for some reason, unless maybe Legion was possessing people. I don't know. Let's do a quick Google, see what we can find out. Who was Legion? Legion is a demon or group of demons, particularly those in 2 or 3 versions of the exorcism of the Gracine Demoniac, an account in the New Testament of an incident in which Jesus performs an exorcism. Okay, so Jesus performs an exorcism to get a demon called Legion out of a person. Which is either one demon or it's lots of demons. The way I've seen Legion is always lots of demons with the mind of one. Why is it?
Yeah, this also sounds like complicated sci-fi.
No, this is fact. This is in the New Testament. This 100% happened, and it. Okay, so in the Christian New Testament Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, They each describe an incident in which Jesus meets a man, or in Matthew, two men, possessed by demons who, in the Mark and Luke versions, when asked what their name is, respond, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Which I guess could maybe play into the big robot army coming, I don't understand what he's going for with this Legion metaphor. To me, it still doesn't make sense. If you've a listener and you know, for whatever reason, just everything about the specific Legion exorcism in the New Testament, please email in and let us know if you have any ideas as to what the subtext or the metaphor could be for this painting of Legion that makes Griska come back. Because for me, it just was like they want a cool Bible reference.
Maybe it's something really specific to 1605 Russia that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, maybe it's like a really deep history cut.
But yeah, the Doctor goes on to convince Sasha that psychic robots aren't Polish. He does a lot of try and convince people in this episode. He doesn't really do much outside of that, does he?
Yeah. No, besides trying to strip a guy in public.
And then Dimitri makes a speech announcing the wedding. The Doctor interrupts, and he tries to get Dimitri to admit his wife is actually a robot. Dimitri says his wife is Polish, and that Poles and Russians should combine to rule the world. The public reacts negatively to the Polish marriage. Oksana wants the Doctor to protect Dimitri from the public, telling them human side is still inside. Which is, yeah,
because she had planted this painting of Legion to see if there was any humanity, because she knew all along that it wasn't really Dimitri, even though she definitely didn't seem that way. And they make a point of being like, she's not educated, she's like a regular peasant lady, but I guess people are smarter than their means, or she knows people because she babed him. I don't understand. She was just there.
I'm pretty sure when what's his name again? Not Dimitri, but Griska.
Griska.
I'm pretty sure when Griska picks up the icon, he's like, I don't recognize this, but yet he's still showing like human emotion, and she's like, okay, I recognize that fucking Dimitri isn't inside him, but it's somebody else who's human, and that's the human side. It's not Dimitri, it's somebody else.
Okay, right.
I don't know. It's convoluted in a way, isn't it?
And more than one.
So Sasha asks Griska to stop pretending. Griska force chokes him, and Griska fights against being controlled. And the robot wife attacks Griska. The Doctor, Sasha, and Oksana take Griska to the cathedral because he's almost dead at this point.
Yeah.
And Griska then awakes from being dead because that's what he does. The robot wife attacks the people of Russia. They convince Griska that he's a good person, and he begins to break through. Griska eventually saves the day and dies. The Doctor says there's two more fake false Dimitris out there, which I'm pretty sure was only one, but I guess in this... I don't know if there was two.
I think maybe only one became Tsar, but there could be like two or three others that waged wars to try and become Tsar and failed.
Which again just reminds me of Liquid Chris.
What I didn't like about this episode is they wrapped it up so quickly. I was like, wait, how did they beat the robots?
Yeah.
It goes from like this really intense action scene to, oh, the day's over, bye.
Yeah, but before the Doctor leaves, he's like, I'm going to check in on Russian leaders once in a while because I don't really like most of them.
Yeah,
that kind of feels relevant. Probably the weakest of the box set, I would say.
Yeah, it's still entertaining, it's still good, but definitely a middle episode.
Maybe I would enjoy it more if I was more of a history buff, but I'm not much into history at all.
See, I really like medieval history, so I really liked the setting that this was in. I just found parts of it dumb, you know.
It kind of reminds me a lot of the Lady Macbeth episode from last time, or was it the box set before that?
No, I think it was last time, yeah.
Where it's basically just set in a castle, basically, for most of it.
Yeah, which I liked because I like castles and medieval times, but
why don't you live in one?
I wish. They're just expensive and cold and old and haunted by robots and ghosts. But our third and final episode from this box set was Auld Lang Syne by Tim Foley. Every December, Mandy Litherland gathers the family at the Folds' house to see the new year. Not everyone appreciates her efforts. At least the caretaker seems friendly, if a little weird. Mandy hopes she'll see him again next year. But perhaps she already has. So this is the timey-wimey house, as I like to call it. It's a very timey-wimey episode that's easy to get lost in. They made the right decision of following Mandy the entire time. She's the main character in this episode, and the Doctor is a side character that pops up every now and then. And we're following her because she's experiencing time linearly. So she's going 1 year at a time, whereas the Doctor is hopping all over the place and making it really complicated.
Yeah, when I was watching this, listening to this, I just got really big Blink vibes, which is a Doctor-like story, and it's kind of simple in a way, but also kind of complicated to follow, but you're following it good enough, I think. It's not that difficult to follow.
Yeah, and we start in 1989 with Mandy and her great aunt Betty, or is it Betty? 1989. Mandy and great aunt Betty catch up in the car on New Year's Eve, going towards an old house for the party after winning pools. What does that mean? What is winning pools? I was like,
so
what are you talking
basically,
about?
I looked this up, and it's basically they made the right football predictions, and they won the house based on getting the right football predictions. And that's really it.
Okay, in my head I just said lottery because I had no idea what pools was.
The first time I heard winning pools, I was like, did they win a swimming pool? Where's the swimming pool?
See, I thought pool like snooker pool.
Yeah.
The house's caretaker is the Doctor, and he tells Mandy the house is only on the market one night a year. Aunt Sue's new boyfriend called Frank arrives, and the Doc wasn't expecting them, but he's preparing the fireworks. The doors blow open and weird noises occur, and the Doctor says that the house reveals secrets bit by bit. At midnight, Great Aunt Betty doesn't want to come out, and she sees the TARDIS rigged with the fireworks. The Doctor says that he's been through a lot lately, and he's just kind of laying low. Get a reference to Time War. And the Doctor tells Mandy to come back next year and to keep this metal stick. He's basically like, this is a baton. I'm passing the baton to you, and you can carry it and then bring it back to me. But to get the house for free next year, you have to stay away from it completely. Don't even drive past it. And Aunt Betty says that she heard unpleasant voices. So that's the setup in the year 1989. I think, Frank is non-start. He does nothing. He's got like one twist with him that I didn't care about, where he's a ghost again. Another goddamn ghost.
That's the problem with Frank and Sue. They're not really interesting characters. I'm gravitated towards Mandy and Great Aunt Betty, but not Frank or Sue.
Yeah.
They're the only other two characters, basically. I think there's somebody else. I think there's children in the house. We don't really hear the children.
I have no idea. Because they say the whole family's coming, and then there's like 4.
I'm pretty sure they mentioned there's 2 children, because at one point Mandy thinks she hears the children, and she tries to find them, but the children aren't there. But it's also the children are there. They're just fairly quiet, aren't they?
Yeah. In 1990, so the next year, Mandy has lost her job in the reception. Oh yeah, this episode's super anti-Thatcher. Great Aunt Betty hates her. She celebrates her loss. And,
Christopher Ecclestone read the script and did a big clap.
Frank is still dating Sue. Mandy finds an eyeless lady in the house staring at the wall. And the Doctor tells Mandy to stay calm and hits the ghost with the metal tube, and Mandy passes out. That whole sequence with the eyeless lady, I thought was great. I was like proper horror. I was really, really enjoying it. And the sound design and the performances and the writing were so well, you could visualize exactly what it looked like, really, really well. And the way I was imagining the faces of people is, in the episode with David Tennant and Rose, set in World War II.
Idiot's Lantern.
Yes, where all the people's faces get sucked off. Yeah.
That was the coronation episode, Yeah,
it's the 50s, not World War II. But yeah, it's that design of the face is just, it's a really good design. It stuck with me.
Which I might watch this weekend because it's the 70th anniversary of the Jubilee.
It's a good episode. It's a fun episode.
It's solid.
Yeah,
it's solid.
Great Aunt Betty says the house has been haunted for years, and the Doctor and Mandy experience a loop back to 1989. The Doc hasn't been to 1989 yet, even though we've seen him there. Timey-wimey. Frank has gone missing, and you've written Dick here. The Doctor, I think you mean, tells Mandy to come back, and that this metal thing that she's got needs to find the right year to keep the house stable. It's a timey-wimey baton, basically, and that's why he's given it to her. The Doc opens the door and finds World War II soldiers, and Frank and Sue want to go back to the house next year. At the end of the party, Frank just kind of appears again. Aunt Betty makes a really quick exit. So 1990, things are already starting to get complicated with the Doctor and the house being weird. I think this would be a really fun episode to actually watch on TV, with like a nice little bottle episode set in one location.
It's already my favorite New Year's episode of Doctor Who out of the 4? Yeah, 4.
It's like a time loop episode that did it better than the actual time loop episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing with Frank and Sue is like they're not interesting. Just like the only thing I wrote down is Frank is still dating Sue. Frank is missing. Frank and Sue want to go back to the house. There's no character there, and yet they're a big part of the story, supposedly.
Yeah, because Frank's a ghost. Spoilers. In 1991, Aunt Betty is getting forgetful. Mandy's been
foreshadowing.
Mandy's been investigating the house through the public library and researching it, and finds out that it's a mystery house, and that she can't. And the Doctor isn't in the house this year. She's not there, but he did leave a message for her on the answering machine that says, "I'm at the end of the story. See you next year." Some fourth wall break in there. Betty leaves her belongings behind and scolds Mandy, telling her to do something with her life, like traveling. They really tease out that Mandy wants to go traveling and she's saving up to go traveling, and I was like, this is a setup for a companion. This is somebody to go traveling with the Doctor. This is, it's like the perfect prototype of a companion.
They even fucking kiss, the Doctor's only kissed one person before this.
Yeah.
And that was Grace in the movie.
Yeah. He's not even kissed Rose yet.
I know.
In 1992, Mandy cries in the car after Betty died, and she goes to see the Doc again, who's still wet from the punch that happened 2 years ago in 1990. The house begins to freak out with ghosts, and the Doctor uses sparklers to keep them away. And he keeps on opening up doorways to different time periods throughout the house. And the house melts itself to the past. It's a time ship that merged with the house. And at that point, I went, I don't care. I don't understand what that means.
It's just basically a time ship that kind of took over the house, and the house turned into the ship, but the house is still a house.
Spooky ghost time house, Mandy says that this is fantastic, and everybody clapped and jeered. The antibodies are reaching to the ship's instability, but the antibodies are themselves causing instability, which is a sentence that makes no sense to me. I don't understand.
Never did I.
I don't understand what that means. What are the antibodies in the house? Are they the ghosts?
Yeah, the antibodies are kind of what Frank is. Frank isn't a ghost, but he's like, I guess, the ship's AI, kind of.
Okay.
That's trying to fix the ship, but
I didn't care about any of that part. I liked the relationship with the Doctor and with Mandy, and I liked Mandy's emotional arc. That was the stuff I cared about. The timey-wimey house, fun concept, really mediocrely explained. The Doctor says that I never kill, not anymore. Another Time War reference. And the Doctor and Mandy use flares to draw antibodies away from the core. They go into the TARDIS, where Mandy sees her mum as a child. It says that Mum and Gran died when she was a kid and Betty took her in. We travel back to 1992, where the house is now settled down. Mandy gives the Doc a big ol' mwah. And the Doctor realizes that Frank is a ghost, like the Mr. Poopy Butthole episode of Rick and Morty you've written.
So when he was explaining why he was a ghost, I was thinking kind of like he kind of was a guy that manifests himself in the memories.
Himself into the memory, yeah. Yeah, that would be a fun twist, but no, it's not really like the Mr. Poopy Butthole episode so much. Frank has a freak out about being a ghost, but then gets over it really quick, and people are like, "Don't worry about it, Frank." Mandy goes to find Betty from last year, and Mandy basically gets her to admit that she's ill, and they have this really, really good little conversation, and it ends on this heartbreaking line where Mandy's like, is there anything I can do? And, Betty's like, oh, you could just give me a hug, and it's like, oh, wow, didn't expect to be crying right now. This is excellent.
Yeah, it's a really heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, it took the doctor months to find Mandy, because he comes bursting into the room. Susan
he grew a beard apparently as well.
Yeah, he got like stubble. Susan has to stay with Frank for the rest of her life to stabilize the ship, so she's now got Ghost Boyfriend who cares about them. And then the doctor says goodbye to Mandy, and she's like, "Can you kiss me again?" And he goes, "Mwah." And then the credits roll. It's a really fun episode. I think it's the best episode of the three, far and away.
Yes, 100%. The only issue I would have with it is the whole Frank and Sue kind of ending is like, it feels like they should have had more development throughout the storyline, so you could care about them being a couple, and also the twist ending of Frank being the ship, kind of.
Ghost Frank.
Ghost Frank.
It's weird that there's like three ghosts in like across. Like there's always ghosts in these stories. They're like a recurring theme, but this one is ghosts. I think that's strange. But hey, what did you think about this box set compared to the other box sets that we've covered so far?
I would say every story is roughly of the same quality, but that quality is kind of like at a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 range. There's nothing spectacular here, but all of the stories are very listenable, and obviously Christopher Ecclestone, as always, is excellent. I love hearing him. He has more Big Finish stories now than actual TV episodes, which is still insane to me because I never thought he would ever come back to the role, but here we are.
Yeah, he's a regular old Paul McGann. Yeah, I know. More of an audio doctor than a visual doctor.
To be fair, it only took Paul McGann like 2 weeks to get into that position.
He really set the record. Yeah, I agree that this is a very middling box set. I would say it's more 6, 7 out of 10 than 7, 8 out of 10. But that's my own personal preferences for them. I think this last episode is up there with the strongest episodes out of all the box sets we've done. With the Ecclestone episode specifically. But just as a box set, it's very middling. It's a decent start to this season of Ecclestone box sets, and I'm excited to see how it goes. This is the foundation. We're going to start building up and getting into more sci-fi stories I'm expecting with this next box set, because it's called like Back into Space or something like that. This was Back to Earth, and then the next one is Into Space.
The next box set, we've got a story with Sontarans, and we've also got a Christmas special written by the same guy who just wrote this New Year's special about a killer Jack Frost. So that's
bet he's fun. A ghost as well.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that and seeing what that's going to look like. So far, I think the Ecclestone box sets have been consistently very good, though. I don't think there's been a bad box set.
There's not been a bad box set, but there's also not been anything that just completely
amazing.
Blows me away.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is it's just Christopher Ecclestone. He's always coming back. He's the only main character. I think Big Finish is kind of like staying too close to the show, just being like, okay, we can't have any companions because Rose was companion, and we can't give the Ninth Doctor really a big storyline because he had a big storyline on the TV show, and we don't want to take away from a TV show, but yet it's given Big Finish kind of nothing to do. Great stories and all that, but the Doctor doesn't seem to be really doing much in these stories.
The issue is it's been so episodic.
Yeah,
we just had an entire season of audio dramas with him where it was entirely episodic, and it wasn't until like the last episode where it was like, oh, this thing that happened 3 box sets ago is suddenly relevant again. And so far this season started off with 3 episodic episodes, which is, if you're thinking about TV wise, having 3 episodic episodes to start, totally fair. But yeah, I want to start seeing arcs with his Doctor, because so far he's very much still stuck in the, oh, I'm still grieving the Time War and I don't want to have anybody with me, and he's not changed since we were first reintroduced to him, basically.
Yeah, but that's also the same problem. You just can't give the Doctor a character arc because he went through his character arc in the show. And you can't have him be different when he was in the first episode he was in, which is kind of annoying in a way.
Yeah, but...
And also, if I wasn't doing this for a show, looking at the prices, it's like £20 box set, and that's 4 box sets. You're paying £80 for a complete season of this. If I wasn't doing this for a show, I don't think I'd be that interested in getting...
I'd listen to it on sale, you know. I'd try to get it cheap if I was going to get it at all. To be fair, I wasn't listening to Big Finish at all before we did the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, the podcast is a way of me getting into Big Finish, and I'm actually going to be starting my second Paul McGann episode soon on Big Finish, which I'm looking forward to, because his first episode was goddamn amazing. So I'm looking forward to starting that second one with him. You know, but yeah, you know, Big Finish prices have always been insane, though. They've always been ridiculous. But yeah. But I want to start seeing some semblance of at least a little change, or like you could do like a 2 or 3 parter where the Doctor has to deal with the problem in a different way, or something like that. Just getting tired of these episodic ones.
Yeah, or maybe you just have to be like, okay, the Doctor at some point left Rosen Earth and went on some adventures in the middle of the season, you know, after Dalek or something, and he's went through a change, kind of. And so here he is, a brand new kind of Doctor who went for a character arc, or half a character arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, you know, bring on Billy Piper for a box set. That would be so much fun.
I'd love Billy Piper to come back.
And you know, if this was 2 years ago, I'd say bring back John Barrowman or Noel Clarke. But, you know, this is 2022 and I can't say that.
Well, the Noel Clarke one, maybe. You know, all the charges were dropped. The police investigated. He's got that Channel 4 documentary coming out. So maybe he's all in the clear.
20 women came out against him, I think, when there's smoke, there's fire.
There's a lot of people against him, but there's no charges, I suppose. But yeah, who knows? I want something more. I want something bigger.
We just ended this on a big downer, but yeah, it's a good box set overall, and I would recommend it to people, even though we just spoiled it, so we're not really recommending it to any listeners at the moment.
I'd hope you'd listen to it beforehand, but if you didn't, and our quick rundown of the episodes made you interested in the Ecclestone box sets, I do recommend getting them. I recommend getting them cheap if you're going to get them. Don't pay full price. For them.
Yeah, you would have to wait years for it to
go into
be
sale.
Part of a sale.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be Christopher Ecclestone's like 60th birthday or something. How old is Christopher Ecclestone?
57.
I'm gonna Google it.
How close was
he? He has a long name. He is 58. You're very close.
Oh, not bad. Not bad. Yeah, or if he comes back for the 60th special, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, surprise sale!" But...
or in 2025, 20th anniversary of season 1, which is very close, and I can't believe it.
Yeah. But yeah, I recommend picking them up if you can, because they are fun listens, and it's a really good way of actually getting into Big Finish, because there isn't an overwhelming amount of episodes yet.
Yeah, and you could also start at any point as well. As a great part.
Yeah, except
in
for
terms
that
of
last
episodic.
Season, except for that last season, last episode of the last season.
You could still listen to it and understand.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good jumping in point for the Big Finish
for sure
ocean that they have. But Scott, what have we got coming next week?
Oh God, we have The Curse of Fatal Death, which is the 1999 comic relief special written by Stephen Moffat, starring great comic geniuses like Rowan Atkinson and Hugh Grant and other names I'm forgetting.
Awesome, that's my favorite comedian.
But yeah, it's going to be a fun one for sure. It's going to be a short one, which is good because we just did the movie.
Yeah. Which, if you haven't listened to, please go back and listen to the movie. It was our 1 year celebration of the podcast. We've now been doing this podcast over a year. mental. But yeah. So next week we have got Curse of Fatal Death, which will be an interesting one to review. I know nothing about it. June, we said before, coming into June is a really weird month for this podcast. Usually we tend to have our months themed over something, but June we don't really have a theme. We're just kind of doing stuff. So we've got Curse of Fatal Death coming up next week, which I hope you look forward to that. And in the meantime, you can send us email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at WatchesDoctor. This podcast is available on video form. We're on youtube.com/whowatcheswho. It is on audio form wherever you listen to your podcasts. There are so many links in the description that will link you to everything you could ever possibly desire in our podcast realm. Burp. I just burped. Lovely. Great way to end the podcast. I think Scott tried to burp as well. Don't know if it came through. Discord didn't pick it up. Lovely.
It was a quiet burp.
Looking forward to listening to that. But we will see you next week with Curse of Fatal Death. I'm extremely tired now and don't know what else I have to say. I'm gonna keep rambling on as the music starts playing. Here we go. Dun 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 dun. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. Okay, right. Bye-bye.
Bye.